Hello guys, and welcome back to Cece's Corner. I know that I'm in a little bit of a weird spot right now, but I hope that you can hear me, see me, all of the things. We're having another heat wave, and I'm desperately trying to stay cool, so this is the spot that I found. Hopefully the sound is not too bad, but just in general, yeah, it's hot. I'm suffering. This whole summer has been too much. I don't know about you guys, but like depending on where you live and how you live, it's not fun. And I'm usually one that enjoys warm weather, but not if I can't seem to sleep or do anything that I like doing. Yeah. Um Anyways, today I just want to spend some time and talk about a few food related things. So if that's not your cup of tea or if it's triggering in any kind of way, please just skip this. I don't mean to make anybody feel bad or feel like what I'm saying is insensitive. I do not mean to, but I had a plan for this week's video, and then I figured out while cooking the other day that I could just easily film myself talking about a few hacks that I use to trick myself into eating vegetables and fruit. Because, you know, especially when we're adults, we are responsible for our own nutrition. Nobody's gonna tell us what we should be doing and how we should be doing it, which is a great thing, but that also means that we have to take a lot of responsibility. And I, for one, feel like the way that I nurture myself or what I put in my body also has a huge effect on how I feel inside of my body, and it also affects my mental health. So that's why I'm trying to manage balancing better. That isn't to say that I don't eat unhealthy foods, and it's not to say that I only eat super healthy foods at all. Like I said, I try to balance and I try to make sure that if I'm craving something, I don't deny myself, but at the same time, of course, I can't do everything how I want to be doing it every single time I'm eating, because then, there would be maybe one vegetable in sight, but not like a whole array. So I'll try to really make sure that I do. And I also know, because I'm working full time, and I think a lot of us are working full time, that it's quite like time consuming, let's just say, to make sure that we eat vegetables and fruit. Plus, it's also, depending on where you live, quite expensive. But there's like easy hacks that I use practically on a daily, if not, more routinely basis, that I do to kind of just squeeze in some veggies where you wouldn't expect it. And these are hacks that have helped me incorporate more things, like a bigger variety into my diet, because that's also important to not just only stick to one thing. One is better than none, but like you get what I'm saying. And I know that I'm just babbling, but I don't think that I need to be teaching you about nutrition and like all of those things. I think that everybody should be responsible for themselves. This is just my little hacks for incorporating a lot of fresh veggies and fruit into my diet as much as I possibly can. So the first thing is, in the morning, I take like a general vitamin supplement, which I don't know if that's recommended, but I just do it because it makes me feel good. And then I also squeeze lemon into my tea if I'm having tea, just because it's good for digestion, but it's also, vitamin C. But what I always try and do is, depending on what I eat for breakfast, but if I have like a porridge oatmeal situation happening, try to incorporate chia seeds, and then try to put some nuts and berries in there if I have them on hand. And I know that I'm not doing anything that's new or anything super scientific, but like it's just an easy hack to incorporate those things into your diet. And I try to also do it if I'm having a slice of bread or something like that. I try to always add some kind of fruit to my breakfast in one form or another, just to have that covered first thing. And then what I will do is, oftentimes I will stretch out my breakfast by just eating more. Basically, I'm not skipping a meal. Don't do that. But like I'm eating more for breakfast because I feel like it satisfies me better if I have like a bigger amount of food. But then I'm not really hungry during lunchtime, so I will have an afternoon snack, which usually consists of some kind of a yogurt or something like that. It can also sometimes be like a bar of some kind. Um, if I'm, hungry for sweet treat, I'll have a sweet treat like a, I don't know, Mars bar or something like that. But I will also try and have one more type of fruit if I have it on hand. Um, if I don't have another one, I will have the same one that I did in the morning. But I try to, like in the early afternoons, I try to have fruit as a snack. I also know not rocket science, but I've like, um, incorporated it as a pattern instead of eating something else, just to try and eat the fruit first and then everything else second to make sure that I get it in there. And then for dinner, I will try to eat the most vegetables that I can, which usually will be sweet potatoes or yams, however you want to call it, some type of bell pepper, probably zucchini, aubergine, anything that I can find, and then also stuff that's in season. Um, and the way that I prep my veggies is I, on Sunday or Monday, either day, however I'm, having the time to chop up a bunch of veggies, I will pop all of those veggies um, in my air fryer. So I will pop in the yams, sweet potato situation, or just a regular potato, depending, and all of the veggies that I have and that I picked out, I will chop them up and I will put them in an air fryer for about 30 minutes. I will season them depending on my mood. Sometimes I put like more Asian seasonings. I love like a good curry veg situation. I sometimes put more Mediterranean seasonings, but either way, I make sure that I season it really well, unless I want to have it very blank, and then I will just, oil, salt, pepper. That situation can also be good, depending on what you're cooking with it. But that's just something that has helped me personally, and the reason as to why it's helped me is I'm a very hangry person. I am one of those people who unfortunately is impatient when hungry, which I know is a privilege to say the least, but I am not a patient person. I get really like upset when I'm hungry, in the sense that also I can't wait because my blood sugar will just drop. So I tend to try and find something to fix the problem quickly, which means that I will just eat anything that's around. But I can avoid it if I have the veggies prepared, and then I will pick a side. Sometimes I will incorporate those types of veggies into a pasta sauce. Sometimes I will use it and eat a protein with it. It really depends on the day, and it also depends on my mood and like how much I've eaten prior and how hungry I am. Mostly on the third, how hungry I am, but just in general, that's what I try to do. And that's what works great for me. Doesn't have to work that way for everybody, but like I understand that meal prepping is quite complex and can take a lot of time. But if I'm just chopping up veggies and popping them in the air fryer for 30 minutes, the amount of time I spend chopping veggies is not compared to any other type of meal prep. And then I have a healthy part as a staple to my meal, and I can do everything else on the spot if I want. But it just gives me a home advantage of not having to focus on chopping veg when I'm really, really hungry and just want to eat. And that's a life hack that I use to trick myself into eating eating the vegetables that I need. But just in general, apart from this, something that always also works is incorporate vegetables that are tasteless into random things. I like to use a lot of zucchini for like random things because first of all, it's like a volume food. It fills up a situation, but it's also tasteless in most things. So it's not really a hindrance to the experience of the meal, unless of course it's like something that is traditionally prepared. But if you're making a pasta sauce, um, it's easy to grind into there. Just grind it, chop up some zucchini or like slice up some zucchini. I like to use one of those vegetable slicer things to make them very like fine and thin, because it's a texture thing for me that I don't necessarily like it everywhere, but I like to pop it in there. I use aubergine when I do a simple marinara sauce because I think it's bomb. It's like a nice complementary taste, and it's a vegetable to add in. I use a lot of different spices to get that type of seasoning in, and I know it's not a vegetable, but it's also good for your organ health, to use natural herbs of any kind. And then I, for example, sometimes I will put some spinach in my eggs if I have spinach, or I will use it for specific dishes where it pairs really well, and I will specifically add this to the veggies that I already have on top as like an extra topping, because I like it to go with it. Like, for example, salmon. I love to eat spinach with salmon, or putting it in like a cheesy pasta. It's just something that I've grown up with, so I love doing it. But yeah, just basically trying to incorporate it whenever I can without ruining the meal. And I know also that I'm not 100% always in the mood, and I don't do it every single time. Like, if I'm cooking a specific type of pasta and there's just no vegetable in sight for some reason, like I'm not about to put zucchini in carbonara or like something similar, trust me, no, that's a sin. But just in general, whenever the opportunity presents itself and it doesn't harm the integrity of the dish, let's just say, I like to put it on there. I use a lot of cucumber on sandwiches. I use a lot of leftover salad leaves also on sandwiches, or just in general, to, mix them in. Arugula also isn't bad to mix into like medium warm things at the end, so that they don't get like totally soggy, but they can deal with a little bit of warmth without, just combusting. So I think that works. And I've listed a bunch of random things now, and I think it's probably all over the place. But the reason I'm doing it is because I realized the other day when I was doing the hack, and I just added some zucchini and some leftover carrot that I had into a random dish just to get my veggies, I thought about it and was like, okay, no, you got to talk about it because it's so easy to do. And I know that, for example, this is also something that works if you have children that don't like eating vegetables. Just make it like tasteless within a pasta sauce or something, unless they're allergic, but just in general, if you can make it very fine, there's usually not really a difference in texture and taste, and it's just a hack that's awesome to be doing. And then, yeah, I think obviously it varies regionally, it varies culturally, and it varies given the opportunity and setup that we all have. But I think encouraging each other to live a little bit more consciously in that regard is never ever wasted, and never ever a mistake, because we need that stuff to survive, whether we like it or not. And trust me, I don't always like it, like, believe you me. But it's good for our mental health, it's good for brain function, it supports organ function, it's good for everything. And I think also it's a really good kind of self-love to show yourself that you are worthy of being and eating healthy and delicious at the same time. Yeah, so that's it from me. Sorry for the random pop-up, but we're going to go back to the regular scheduled program next week. In the meantime, if you have questions, or if you have any fun like tips and tricks for yourself or others that you use, pop them in the comments. I would love to hear from you. And then until then, have a great week. Love you.